USBC here from USBC Wrestling, and this is a new show I'm going to call the Raw Review. It's exactly what it sounds like. I basically just review this week's Raw. This week is the week of July 23rd, 2018. So let's begin. This Raw also continues the journey of the SummerSlam as Extreme Rules ended 2 weeks ago. As I'm uploading my review for that right now, and it still has over an hour left. It doesn't sound like that much, but it's been going for 3 hours now. So that is how good my internet is. Anyway, let's continue. The biggest things of Raw this week was Stephanie McMahon's announcement for a new pay-per-view, which I will go over very soon, and the Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley to determine who will face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. And the person who won, just please beat Brock. He has been champion for a year and a half and has appeared like 7 times with the title. That's bad. That's very bad. Anyway, let's continue. Oh yeah, this Raw was also in Cincinnati. I mean, Dean Ambrose wasn't there, so this doesn't really mean anything, but yeah, sure. Alright, this began with the roster standing on top of the ramp. I believe it was all women who were standing on top of the... It might have been men too, I don't remember. The only person really missing that was, like, important was Charlotte Flair, who has been off the road with an injury. Anyway, let's begin with the announcement. Vince McMahon was in the ring to welcome us to Raw, which is kind of an odd thing because he hasn't really like done that since the very early 2000s. So, like when he started like not being that much in terms of appearance. Anyway, they basically thanked all of the talent for over the years. Because if they weren't there, neither would the company. And Stephanie thanked the women for creating history over the last couple of years, like the first Women's Hell in a Cell, first Women's Royal Rumble, first Women's Elimination Chamber, I believe, happened. Please, I hope I'm not wrong on that. But also, they did a Money in the Bank twice now. So... And also, they went from 30-second matches to main eventing pay-per-views, so that's very good. So, Stephanie announced that on October 28th, over 50 women will be in a all-women's pay-per-view called Evolution. Dumb name, but hey, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna watch it because why not? So that's a thing that's happening. There's an all-women's pay-per-view going on now. So, that's neat. They didn't announce any matches for it, obviously, yet, so when those are announced, I will probably tell you guys about it. It will be on the network, of course, and all the women applauded the news. After that, the announce team welcomed us to the show. The pay-per-view itself will be in Long Island, New York, so it will feature matches for the Raw, SmackDown, NXT titles, like women's titles, and the finals of the Mae Young Classic, which is a tournament, for those of you who don't know, between all women. So that will be reaching its finale. Anyway, after that we get into the actual, like, wrestling part of Raw, and the first match of the night was the Deleter of Worlds, aka Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, versus the B Team, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. And I did talk about this in my Extreme Rules pay-per-view review. I am so happy they're giving Axel and Dallas something to do, and they're actually having them win against like solid upper mid-card talent. And they basically went from jobbers to now they're actually champions, so good job them. They did kind of use them for laughs, though. as it showed them in the locker room, the B team. And Curtis Axel was excited about the Evolution pay-per-view. Remember the all-women's pay-per-view, and said, "Let's defend the titles," because he's a genius. Anyway, Dallas said these last few weeks have been amazing. They hyped each other up, with Axel saying that B stands for brother, and Dallas calling him the brother they never had. For those of you who don't know, Bray Wyatt is his brother in real life. So, and then Dallas said that B stands for best team. They laughed, but they forgot their titles, so they had to go back and grab them. Elias, who has the gimmick of someone who likes playing guitar and is basically like the songwriter gimmick, he was sitting on the ring about to play a song, but Matt and Bray made their entrance, so he had to basically just sit there and watch. And he obviously looked very aggravated about this. And then the B team entered as champs. So the match, the B team, the champions, versus the leader of worlds. It started with Bo Dallas versus Hardy, so Wyatt tagged himself in. And one of the commentators, Corey Graves, mentioned that Dallas is very familiar with Bray without saying that they are brothers. Of course, that would be breaking kayfabe, as except for like a tiny bit in NXT, they were not known to be like any kind of relation whatsoever. So after that, Wyatt hit a running crossbody block. Yes. Hardy and Wyatt were both in the ring, so Dallas and Axel bailed to the floor as the show went to break because commercials on Raw, they suck. Anyway, when we came back, the heel champs were in control. I don't know why the B teams are heel, but okay. Leading for a 2 count, so very close call. Wyatt nailed Dallas with a clothesline. Hardy got in the ring, hitting it with Hardy getting hit with an elbow in the chin, a clothesline, and Hardy sent Axel into the turnbuckle 10 times. For you, like, if people don't know what that means, you basically grab someone's head and just bang it into the turnbuckle. So yeah, he hit him with that 10 times, which has kind of been his thing. After that, he got him with a side effect, which is Hardy's signature, for another close 2 count for the titles. Hardy went to the middle rope from an elbow to the back. Hardy connected with a twist of fate, but Dallas broke up the pin. Wyatt went after Dallas, who moved, and Wyatt went crashing into Hardy and Axel, so Axel flipped Hardy over for the win after 8 minutes. I'm not really... I guess I can do, like, ratings for this. Anyway, 8-minute match. Solid match, but nothing amazing, of course. But serviceable, and the B team won again, so their title reign isn't really a fluke all the way, because they're actually defending it well. I was really hoping that they wouldn't just immediately throw them to the dogs and get rid of that title reign immediately, so good job on that. Solid match. After it was over, Hardy and Wyatt applauded, but it didn't last. Hardy and Wyatt dropped the champs with a twist of fate and his sister Abigail, the 2 finishers, and then they posed over the fallen champs. I don't know whether this means that they're turning heel, but if they do, that's something. That's something very interesting, because the fans want to cheer both teams. They like both. So if they turn them heel, I don't think the fans are going to go along with it. But hey, there's going to be a rematch, I'm sure. But hey, the rating I will give will be a 6.5. So better than like solid, but not like amazing. Anyway, what the heck? Some rock band was shown at ringside. I've never heard of them before. They're supporting Connor's Cure, which is a little like anti-cancer thing that they do. A little like charity that WWE runs. So that's nice. I don't know why they needed a rock band for that, but okay. Chad Gable and Finn Balor, the two the WWE doesn't really like anymore club, were shown talking backstage. They talked about Evolution, and some guy was walking by with a briefcase that was Balor's. Another guy had Balor's jacket, who told Balor he was given strict orders to give Balor a new locker room. So Balor walked into the locker room, and it was a kid's playhouse. Why, though? Why? Ugh. Anyway, Constable Corbin walked up to him to say that his locker room was perfect for somebody of his stature. Balor told him he always wanted to have his own Finn's Fun House. Corbin told Balor to enjoy his match against Drew McIntyre. What the heck is this? You'd think that Balor would smack him in the face, but nah, he's already agreeing with this. Anyway, Balor is going up against Drew McIntyre later on in the night. So, after this, we have Sasha Banks and Bayley taking on Samantha Simon and Karen Lundy. I need to look up who those two are because I don't know who they are. No. Okay. The match lasted 2 minutes, and it was basically a squash with Bayley and Banks completely running the match and ending with a Banks statement, which is a submission, and got one of them to tap. So that was a kind of bad match and disappointing because it lasted 2 whole minutes. They were the best women on the roster after they just announced the women's only pay-per-view. It's 2 minutes. Since the match was so short, I'm not going to rate it very highly. I'm going to give it a 5. Because I'm sure the match was fine, but it was a squash and it was 2 minutes long, so it gets a kind of low rating. Alright. Braun Strowman will be up next. So let's see what he has to say. Alright. Braun Strowman came out while Elias was also about to do his concert again. So that's kind of like a running theme throughout the Raw this week. As Elias started to play his little album he has, and then he always gets cut off. And then Roman showed off his Money in the Bank. And Kevin Owens came out. Why? Why would he do this? I was like, Braun Strowman has made it like his job over the last 2 weeks to basically maul Kevin Owens. But whatever. So that happened. And Owens pointed out that he won their Extreme Rules match, aka the cage match, from 2 weeks ago now. And then Baron Corbin made his entrance to join Owens. And basically what happened is they announced a match for SummerSlam? Was it SummerSlam or... let me see here. I know there's a match coming up, but I don't know whether it's at like SummerSlam or like next week on Raw. Between that will earn. I think it was at SummerSlam actually. Hold on 1 second. I can check. Yeah, it's at SummerSlam. Between Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman, and whoever wins, no matter, or if Kevin Owens wins by any means, whether Braun Strowman, like, wins or loses by disqualification or whatever, Kevin Owens will get the Money in the Bank contract. Do I think that will happen? No. It just won't. There's no way that Braun Strowman is going to get beaten by Kevin Owens for something like this. They should not do that, please. Alright, next match is Natalya versus Mickie James. So let's see how that goes. Mickie James was also joined by Alexa Bliss. It was a very close match throughout, along with some distractions by Alexa Bliss. Eventually, Mickie James capitalized with a super kick on Natalya for the pinfall win after about 4 minutes. Short again. Why are all the women's matches being really short tonight? I don't know. But solid match. I'm going to rate that one a solid another 6. Yeah. Just because it was kind of short. If it was longer, it would have gotten a better rating. Anyway, the next match would be the Authors of Pain versus Titus Worldwide. Why? I don't know. But the Authors of Pain really should have won this, and then they got squashed completely. I mean, it wasn't a match, actually. It was not a match, but it should have been a match, and Authors of Pain should have squashed very easily, but it wasn't a match, and they basically got crap beaten out of them throughout. So, anyway, the actual next match is Mojo Rawley versus Tyler Breeze, aka two glorified jobbers. Mojo Rawley won with a squash. After that, he wanted to face someone better, so we'll see how that goes next week. Alright. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Near the end, Balor hit a sling blade and a drop kick that sent McIntyre into the turnbuckle. Balor went up top, so Ziggler tripped him on the top rope. The ref called for the bell and the disqualification after a 7-minute match. Alright, the Mojo match, because it was really short, obviously. But I'm kind of liking that they're slowly pushing Mojo Rawley in. So I'm going to give that one a 5. And the Balor-McIntyre match, I'm going to give a 6.5 because it would have gone higher if it didn't end by disqualification, but of course it did. So it gets a bad rating. Alright, anyway, that went on to a tag team match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, as Seth Rollins ran out after the disqualification. After 12 minutes, it ended on a Hurricane Rana from Seth Rollins. Then he had a curb stomp on Ziggler and pinned him. So I'm going to rate that one a 8. As it got a "This is awesome" chant from fans, so obviously it did very well. Fans liked it. It was a good action throughout. So I'm going to rate that one a 8. Alright, next up, we have Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan. Another 4-minute quick match where Moon dominated the entire time. Another 5. Alright. Finally, we're here for the main event. We have... Wait, what? It started 7 minutes before the end of the... Okay. Then this was the decision for who won. This was the decision for who faced Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at SummerSlam. So, it went on for 18 minutes, so that means they went on 10 minutes overtime for Raw. They really like to go overtime for their stuff now. I don't know why. But, hey, Reigns went for a spear, Lashley kicked out, and Reigns hit a second spear. I think it was the second spear. For the pinfall win, because of course Reigns was going to win. But hey, 18 minutes, solid 7.5. That would be the end of the match. So I'm going to give this night a solid 6.25. I'm giving that rating because there was so many squash matches throughout. There was only like 3 or 4 really good matches. But hey, the announcement was pretty neat, and the matches that weren't squashes were actually pretty good. So, overall, 6.25. So, that would be it for the first episode of the Raw review. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.